Okay, I managed to set up a Palo Alto device in VMware, and I'm just going to go over the GUI of the graphical user interface of Palo Alto. So let's see if it's running. Yeah, so it's running. Let's go to the browser. Okay, so here, so this is the login screen. So just this is it has default password, username, password, or enter admin, and let's see. Yeah, it's in a virtual environment, so it takes a while to load. Yeah, it's like it's loading. Yeah, again, this is a VMware a virtual machine, so it's already expired. But anyways, it's still good enough to do an overview of the Palo Alto GUI. So yeah, so once you log in, you have all these options. Let me start from dashboard. So you have these tabs: dashboard, application, command center, monitor, policies, objects, network, device. So I will just quickly go over each one of them. So dashboard, it just shows the management IP and the version that's running, the type of device. Let me see if I can zoom this a little bit. Okay, it's better. Yeah, so management IP. So, and yeah, time and stuff, whatever time is set up, uptime, all that, right? And then system logs just shows, like, for example, wildfire needs updates from Palo Alto, right? So information about those things here, who logged in and this and that, right? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, also it shows the CPU. So because Palo Alto has a separate uh, data plane and management plane, and separate CPU, so completely separate for traffic and separate for management. So gives you the CPU usage here for management and data plane, and then number of sessions. Yeah, so that's all for dashboard. Let's go to application. I think it's called application command center. Yeah. Okay, so this is like a graphical visualization of different things, like, for example, applications usage and user activity. Um, yeah, source IP. So right now it doesn't have any information because this is just it does not connected device, right? This is just virtual machine. And then destination IP activity. So there's a lot of information here. You can check the rule usage also. And then this is network, and then threat activity as information like wildfire activity, and yeah, host is resolving malicious domain and all that, right? So, and then blocked activity and tunnel. And anyway, so these are some of the options. Um, okay, so that's all for application command center. Let's move to, okay, monitor. That's the one that is most often used. So, so traffic is where you see all the logs, right? So source IP, destination IP, and port and all that. So if you need to, search for something and search for like a logs and stuff, so this is where you can search for it. And yeah, it has all of these other options also. So, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Next is policies. Right. So this is, yeah, okay. So so by default, it has these two rules. So this is, so it has the interzone. So interzone is denied by default, and then it has the intrazone. So intrazone is allowed by default, and then yeah, you can add your own. So I added a rule here. Let me just delete it, and in fact, let me just add another rule. So yeah, okay. So first is you have to name the rule. So test rule 1, and then you have to do is go to source. Source, yeah. So source, so you have to select a zone. Could be, so if it's from inside to outside, it will be inside, and then the IP could be 10.1.1.1. Okay, so and you can create a new object right from this from the policy. So let me just create a new IP object 10.1. Okay, and then this is the name, right? And then the actual IP 10.1.7. And then you can just say like /24 or right here. Okay, and tags, you can add a tag if you want, but like this. Okay, and then so source and then destination is so source IP, and then wherever you want to go, that will be the destination. So again, you have to select the destination zone. So in this case, it will, let's say it's from inside to outside on the internet. So let's select this one, and can add a destination. So just create. So just say IP 2 dot. So that's the name again of the object, and the IP of 2 dot 7 slash. Okay, so that's done. Okay, next is application, right? So this is sort of like it's not unique, but this is one of the main feature of Palo Alto, right? You can specify like what type of application it is, right? So it could be like, for example, could be HTTPS, for example, right? Not HTTPS, an application. It could be like, for example, like Facebook, right? So, so you can select Facebook, and then you don't have to specify any port. So services where you can define ports and stuff. So like you can create like TCP something 33 for like, for example, 443, right? And then add the port here 443. Okay, yeah. So you can add this, uh, and but if you even if you don't add the service port, then it will just pick the default port for like Facebook, whatever it is. So, and there's many other options here. Let me just quickly check. So, yeah, so for I saw Adobe, right? So it could be Adobe. Yeah, so it will allow it. So you can go, it breaks down this into what is allowed, right? So Adobe Meeting is allowed, but you can deny, for example, uploading a file transfer and all that, right? Similarly, you can do the same for like, I think, yeah, for this one also, right? So let me delete this. But if I just do Facebook, yeah, so it's giving me option, right? What is allowed, right? I could go and just only select, for example, Facebook chat, and let's see, Facebook. I saw some other, yeah, so file sharing and social. So so this is a feature of Palo Alto, this is why it's called a next generation firewall, right? So it just doesn't check the ports, but also what application is allowed, right? And so if I delete this and this to 443, so anything from this source to this destination using port 443 will be allowed. Yeah. Action is where you can log, where you want to log store the logs, right? So normally it will have you can store it in like a logging server or panorama. And profile is, okay, I'm going to explain profile. A profile is where you can add other things like antivirus and few other options. Okay, so not just, but these are options. So here you can say whether you want to allow, deny, or whatever, right? So yeah, I don't know why it's giving me red. Okay, there was a space. Okay, so that's the main. These are enough to create a rule. So yeah, source, zones, destination, all that, right? Okay, just click OK. So I'll add the rule here. I can move it up, right, like this, right? And this is, yeah, so this is, yeah, this is pretty much all. Yeah, so, okay. So these are like security rules. There's also NAT rules. So NAT rules will have more options like, so here you have to specify, like, for example, the zone, the source destination, right? But also then because these are NAT rules, right? So you have to also mention the translated, right? So it could be like you can specify whether you want to do a static or a dynamic NAT for source. So for internet, right? There will be source NAT will be selected as dynamic, and IPs can be listed here. And similarly, we can do this for incoming. Like for example, if the traffic is coming into a web server, we can do a static, and could be a load balancer, and behind the load balancer, there could be multiple servers, right? So this can be added here. Yeah, so these are security NAT rules are the ones mostly used in operations. Object is where you can create object, like the one I created from for the policy, right? So I can see them here. I can add more, create more objects. I can create a group and add those IPs here. And yeah, so there's also a list of applications, the same ones like the Facebook. So you can create your own application also, but depending on the signature. But these ones are created by Palo Alto. These are like their proprietary. So and so yeah, so these are like different options. Okay. So the profile, right? This is where I was telling you about where you can assign the profile to the rule, right? So these are the options. So antivirus, anti-spyware, URL, flight blocking, wildfire analysis, this and that, right? And DDoS protection. So all these can be configured, and those will then be applied to the rule. Okay, so object is all about this profile, and you can create a custom URL category. You can also do service, like the ports. So service means port, right? So you can create a group also, like 443 port 80. You can have a group. And next is network. So network is where you assign it's where you do the routing and configure the interfaces. So these are the ones these three are the ones which I configured. So and each interface has to be given a zone, right? So this one you can select the zone and also the virtual router. So in this case, outside. So these were the zones I created. So inside, outside, and DMZ. So once you create the zone, you can then add it to the interface. And virtual router shows you the static routes and stuff. And so here is a default route, but you can also use dynamic routing here, right? Okay, so that's it. So network, all about adding networks and also for like site-to-site VPN and IPsec VPN. Okay, so next is device. Okay, yeah, it's giving me an error because license expired. So device is where you can set up, for example, if high availability and you can set up LDAP and or you can create users here, right? So these are the mostly this is uh, what is you so you have option of radius, TACAC, LDAP, and there's a few more options. But the main ones are like these ones, like the for login and stuff, and also high availability. And so this shows like the so this I'll maybe set up create a video for how to set up the high availability once I get a functioning Palo Alto. Maybe I'll set it up in AWS as a test environment. So okay, set up. Yeah, so there's a lot of options, right? So I don't want to make the video too long, right? So, okay, one last thing is, so this is the actual device, right? But typically, management of Palo Alto is not done through this option. It's done through Panorama. So there will be so for Panorama, we'll have all these tabs here, but and an additional tab is called Panorama, which comes here next to device. And from there you can so Panorama is like a central management for all Palo Alto devices, and there's option to set up templates and which can then be so you can create one template and then those can be assigned to different devices. And okay, last step after you create the rule is to commit. So there's option. So you can commit to the device. If it was Panorama, that there's an option to commit to Panorama first, and then you can commit to the device at a later time. Yeah, okay, so that's pretty much it for just a quick overview of Palo Alto graphical user interface.